This episode of TNA was an absolute banger. I mean, it was amazing. Everything that happened, the returns, the debuts, just so much excitement. And you really felt like, okay, we're definitely going into a new era of TNA now, which was very exciting. So let's just start with what happened at the beginning of the show. Joe Hendry came out to celebrate, he got his applause. Everyone's happy to see him as a world champ. Then Santino comes out and he announced that tonight he will defend his championship already, and his challenger will be a returning Matt Cardona, which is it's pretty cool and I really like that. Like, I feel like this is a tradition with TNA champs because Nick Nemeth also, when he won the belt, he defended it on his first night of holding it, or the first time we saw him holding it, the first Impact episode. And now the same is with Joe Hendry, and was pretty exciting. And that's our main event for tonight, Joe Hendry versus Matt Cardona. I mean, what better can you ask for? But then the first match of the night, which was probably the low point of the night for me, being a trios tag team match, Ash by Elegance, Heather by Elegance, and Rosemary teaming up against the women's champ Masha Slamovich and Spitfire. Now, I have nothing against any of these women, but it feels like we've had these types of matches, and this combination of these women having these tag team matches over and over again, and it's starting to get boring, but at least you can see where we're building towards. In the middle of the match, Cora Jade came out and she showed Masha a contract, I believe it was, and this distracted Masha enough for Ash to roll up either Danny Luna or Jody Threat, I'm not sure who, but one of Spitfire. She rolled up one of Spitfire and got the victory, which means we're probably getting another knockout tag team match between these teams. Can't say I'm excited for that. Again, not at this point anymore. But the way it was booked and for what they're going towards, I really enjoyed it. And then a really interesting promo. Josh Alexander and Northern Armory are in the ring, and Josh Alexander essentially says he's done, he's gonna quit, and that he believes in Sinner and Saint that they can go on their own. But then they betray him. I mean, like, yeah, obviously, like, our leader, you're just gonna quit on us, you're gonna leave us. Yeah, obviously we're gonna turn our backs on you now because you're turning your back on us. And then Eric Young comes out to save Josh Alexander. He chases them away. And yeah, we're gonna get a tag team match, Eric Young and Josh Alexander versus Sinner and Saint. Now, originally, I wasn't sure how successful Sinner and Saint can be on their own as a team without Josh Alexander, but this seems like a pretty good opportunity to see what they can do. And Eric Young and Josh Alexander teaming up is a pretty interesting story beat, and I'm excited to see where that goes. So this whole thing, it was interesting, and it got me excited to see what's gonna happen. And then we got the tag team titles also defended tonight. The Hardys defending it against Moose and JDC, and the Hardys retained, which is the expected result, but Jeff Hardy pinned Moose. I didn't expect that, not at all. I honestly expected Jeff or Matt to pin JDC. I mean, what else would you expect? You're not gonna have Moose take a pin, but Jeff Hardy pinning Moose, that's very interesting. And does that maybe mean we're gonna have a Jeff Hardy versus Moose championship match? Like, that would be an amazing match. And just for someone like me who's a big fan of Jeff Hardy and a massive fan of Moose too, like, that would be a really interesting and high profile match. My only issue is this doesn't feel like the X Division. Like, TNA really needs a separate mid-card title. And I'm not talking about the Digital Media Championship. That championship is its own little universe of weirdness. But we need a solid mid-card championship, because the X Division Championship, it works as a mid-card championship, but sometimes it doesn't feel right. It feels like the X Division needs to be its own thing, and then you have to have your own championship. And it can work. It can work. Like, multiple companies have multiple championships. I just feel like we need to have this separate title, because Jeff Hardy versus Moose doesn't feel like an X Division match. It feels like a match that does deserve a title. Maybe not a world title, but not the X Division Championship, if you get what I'm coming towards. Either way, I am excited for that match, if it's going to happen. And since we were talking about the Digital Media Championship, Sami Callihan comes out to confront whoever this 23 is, because after the Hardys victory, once again got the 23 signs on the board. And there's one guy in my comments who always comments, I appreciate you, man. He said he believes it's going to happen on the 23rd episode of TNA, the reveal. And that's what happened. Like, honestly, I should have seen that coming. It probably makes sense. But yeah, so Steph De Lander comes out with the Digital Media Championship. PCO is done with TNA. I'm going to tell you all about that in a whole separate video. But yeah, he's done with TNA. And Steph De Lander comes out and she introduces us to her new lover, Mance Warner from Major League Wrestling. And I didn't know who he was. Afterwards, I had to go do research about who he was. I didn't like how they did this debut, to be honest with you. I didn't know who the guy was. He looked very bland when he came out. He looked very generic. I didn't feel this debut. Now, I'm going to give it time. I'm not going to diss the guy yet because I believe there is potential with this storyline. I just feel like the way they debuted him, the way they made him look, there was nothing to stand out. There wasn't anything that popped. And with this whole show tonight, people like Mustafa Ali coming back and Matt Cardona and JBL on this show, his debut was always going to fall to the wayside. But making him look so generic, it made it even worse. Regardless, like I said, let's give it a chance. The second set of tag team titles are defended, though, as the NXT Tag Team Champions defend their belts against the Rascals, and they are successful with the help of Wesley. Now, obviously, they didn't ask for the help of Wesley, but Wesley came out and he distracted the Rascals, and that allowed Fraxium to win. Now, here's the thing. I don't want us to just revert back to a Wesley and Rascals feud. Sure, it could be interesting, but if we're going to do this, we really have to invest in Zachary Wentz as the singles wrestler. Because last time he was on NXT around last year, there was so much potential for him to be such a big part of the show. He really stood out as a singles guy. And then we did nothing with that. And now it feels like we're going just back to that. I don't want that. If we're going to commit to this feud with Wesley and the Rascals, we need to afterwards make Zachary Wentz a singles wrestler. And hell, Trey Miguel too, he's pretty good on his own. Then Santana comes out to the ring. He said he made Josh Alexander quit, and from now on, his full focus is going to be on the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. And then Mustafa Ali also comes back. He makes his massive return, and he comes to the ring, just completely interrupts Santana, pushes him to the side, and he's like, I'm also committing to the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Man, this World Championship scene is going to be insane. When you add in the likes of Mustafa Ali, Santana, Joe Hendry, Nick Nemeth is obviously still going to go after the belt, and whatever's happening with JBL here, that's a stacked top of your card. And that's excluding whoever might come from NXT to probably face for the World Heavyweight Championship, because there's a big possibility that happens. Like the TNA World Heavyweight Championship scene, it's loaded. Then we have a Deonna Blanchard promo, and it's meh. The crowd booed her, and that was fine, but I didn't really feel like we progressed anything here. But it was cool hearing her talk for the first time. I just wish we'd have something more important than what this was, because clearly she's not going after the Women's Knockouts Championship yet. So I was hoping we'd progress some story, but no, it was okay. It wasn't bad. It was just there. And then in the main event, Joe Hendry defeats Matt Cardona to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. A great match, but the result we all expected. They weren't going to have Matt Cardona, of all people, go over Joe Hendry on his first night as champion. So what happened made sense, but still a pretty cool match. Enjoyed it a lot. Heavily recommend you go check it out. But the most interesting part wasn't anything part of the match. It was JBL attacking Matt Cardona and then helping Joe Hendry get the victory. I'm really curious where this is going. Originally it looked like he was helping Nick Nemeth, but now it looks like he's helping Joe Hendry. So he's helping whoever is the world champ. I'm very curious where this is going. This is a very interesting story. I have no idea what the end goal is, what JBL's goals is. I don't know what's happening, and I'm really intrigued to find out. So all in all, if I had to give this night show a rating, it would be a pretty solid 9 out of 10. I didn't like how the knockout stuff turned out exactly, but besides that, the whole show was solid from start to finish. Really enjoyed it. An amazing show, and definitely feels like we're heading into a very new era of TNA now. So yeah, if you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I cover TNA every Friday, including all the pay-per-views. So yeah, leave a like, subscribe. Let's get to 400 subscribers. We're very close. So I appreciate your time, and thank you.